Incumbent Massachusetts Congressman Richard Neal is such a liar that honestly, with the latest lie that he put out on social media, he's putting Donald Trump to shame. Luckily, he's being primaried by a wonderful progressive, Alex Morse, who you guys should definitely check out. You can go to alexmorseforcongress.com to learn more about him. And please support him. It's important that he wins in this primary race against Neal for Massachusetts' 1st district. But here's what Richard Neal, the incumbent, tweeted today. I'm the only candidate in this race who has a plan to end surprise medical bills without harming frontline healthcare workers. My opponent and the big insurance companies can attack me all they want, but I won't back down. Oh, really? First of all, shame on you for insulting the intelligence of your constituents and of the general public, because that lie is so easy to debunk. And I'm gonna do it right now. First of all, Richard Neal loves standing in a room surrounded by the for-profit healthcare industry, just making it rain on him. They're like, Richie Neal, making it rain, Richie Neal. Because if you look at his campaign donations from this election cycle alone, he has received quite a bit of money from the private insurance industry, 282,325 to be exact. Oh, and look at that. Oh, Blackstone Group's in there too, 48,600. Blue Cross Blue Shield, 32,500. Looks like he really loves to be influenced by private interests, especially the same private interests that have no interest in ending surprise medical billing. And by the way, to be absolutely clear, Richie Neal 100% blocked a bill, a bipartisan bill that would have ended surprise medical billing. This was first reported by BuzzFeed News. I want to give you a few excerpts from their report. They write that Congress did not include any legislation to end surprise medical billing in its end of year budget bill, which passed the Senate 71-23. Democrats and Republicans in the House and Senate had reached a deal to end surprise billing in recent weeks, despite a multi-million-dollar dark money campaign to kill reforms funded by private equity firms that profit from sending surprise bills to hospital patients. It appeared set to be included in the must-pass spending bill. Then everything fell apart, and people on both sides of the aisle are pointing their finger at one member for tanking the momentum. Representative Richard Neal, the powerful chair of the House Ways and Means Committee. By the way, the private equity-backed groups of doctors spent $30 million to try to defeat that bill. I'm guessing Richie Neal saw a little bit of that cash. Neal surprised everyone by releasing a counter proposal. Conversations with half a dozen politicians and aides across both parties and chambers with knowledge of the process concluded that the proposal from the Ways and Means Committee fractured the unsteady coalition and killed chances for surprise billing to be solved in 2019. Of particular frustration is that Neal's counterproposal wasn't even a piece of legislation, but only a vague one-page outline. When asked by BuzzFeed News, Neal conceded his proposal does not answer the key question of how much to pay for out-of-network emergency room procedures after surprise billing is banned. Here's what he said specifically to BuzzFeed News, quote, "We have not fleshed that out, no." Neal previously proposed a bill that did not contain a solution at all. Instead, it would have kicked the matter to the Trump White House to solve. Let's go back to his tweet. Let's just real quick, guys. Let's go back to his tweet because he said that I'm the only candidate in this race who has a plan to end surprise medical bills. And then he also said, I won't back down. It appears you don't need to back down because you helped to block the bill in the first place. And now it doesn't look like there's any plan, any possibility for legislation that would end surprise medical billing, which bankrupts Americans in this country. So Representative Richie Neal is garbage and a liar.
It's Trumpian. I've not seen such a brazen lie since the story we covered before, where Trump issued an executive order about pharma prices and drug prices himself, and it was lying about it as well. But Richie Neal is supposed to be a Democrat. Vote blue no matter who, except for this guy is going to block legislation that will help Americans with medical bills and then claim that he did the opposite. I mean, it's crazy. And it's the hubris of somebody who knows that they won't face any consequences or believes they won't face any consequences. I'm reminded a lot of Joe Crowley and how he just exuded hubris in his race. We saw how that happened, how that turned out. But if you're backed up by all these interests that you feel are too powerful to be upended, then this is the kind of arrogance that you display, and like for no reason tweeting out the most blatant lie that you possibly could when you could have gone other avenues. But we have the receipts. It's like pretty at the top of the Google search if you want to look up Richie Neal. So it's really incredible.
It is, and it is kind of interesting to see how Richard Neal has now pivoted to just lying about his own record and saying things that he knows appeal to his constituents, but he actually has no interest in accomplishing or doing. Because remember, the first campaign strategy was to work with the state Democratic Party in Massachusetts to smear Alex Morris as some sort of sexual predator. It was later revealed through awesome reporting by The Intercept that it was an orchestrated effort to essentially carry out some sort of hit job against Alex Morris, and he actually did absolutely nothing wrong. They couldn't attack Alex Morris on the policies because he's a Justice Democrat who's right on the policies. He's right on how healthcare should work in this country. He's right in rejecting corporate PAC money, right? And so now Richard Neal really has nothing left. He's like, oh, the smear attack didn't work. I guess now I got to pretend like I'm some populist and just lie to the American people about what I've done in Congress.
Yeah,
yeah.
We saw this earlier or yesterday, later in the evening, with Joe Kennedy III, who has no leg to stand on in terms of policy when it comes to Ed Markey, who has battled nuclear proliferation since the 70s, the co-sponsor of the Green New Deal originally, just like a really strong, interesting progressive who has a lot of passions about specific issues like net neutrality, which I really love. I love when progressives kind of have their own little carved out niche. And Joe Kennedy goes after him for basically his Bernie bro supporters, claiming he's the victim when he is of a political dynasty, the most famous one in America, incredibly powerful, and then basically said that Ed Markey supporters were going after female and people of color that were fans of his campaign because
people are mean to me. Do something about it. People are mean on Twitter.
Exactly. What a little whine.
Yeah, I can't stand that. I can't stand it. Yeah. Especially after we just saw like the favorable complimentary treatment toward the K-Hive people, right? Like I'm not buying any of that argument from corporate Democrats, period. I'm not buying it. I'm not buying it. It is an effort to distract from the fact that the candidate sucks. That's it. That's all it is.
So there's a lot of this going on in Massachusetts of corporate Democrats resorting to desperate tactics. And we'll see on September 1st what happens. But honestly, I haven't been this excited for a specific state, like multiple primaries in the state in a while. So go progressives.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks. Really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.